Hi, this is Randy Kirk, and you have reached Small Business Daily. And if this is the first time you've been here, hi. And if you've been coming all the time, welcome back. We're really glad that you've taken the time to listen to Small Business Daily. We're going to have a guest today. That's going to be something special. And in a few minutes, we'll be introducing Dan Neora, and we'll be talking to him about local business and the Google My Business application. So stick around for that. We'll be there in just a minute. But first, a couple of housekeeping items. If you would you, I know we've just started the show, but could you push like already? If this is content that you think is going to be valuable, push like now because it helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you would like to see content like this on a regular basis, I suggest you subscribe. Just push the subscribe button, and then it'll make it easier for you to find us on a regular basis. Finally, if you'd like us to notify you each time there's a new video up, push the notify business, and that'll be taken care of for you, all automated. So if you take care of those three things, that'd be great. Well, over the last few weeks, you may have tuned into us to hear about 6 sessions that we did on salesmanship. You can go back and check those out. And then over the last 10 days, we've been talking about Elon Musk and the principles that make him the most amazing entrepreneur of our age. Again, you can go back onto the channel and you'll find those conversations that we've had about Elon Musk. But as mentioned earlier, today we are going to switch to a completely new format. We're going to have a guest, and the guest today is going to be a friend of mine who I have come to realize maybe has now surpassed me in the category of how to set up, manage, and get high rankings for Google My Business. I want to introduce you today to Dan Neora. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Randy. Thank you so much. Those were very kind words. I don't know that I deserve all of them, but thank you so much for them.
Well, I have to admit, Dan, that when we first started a couple of years ago, when we first met each other and we were dealing with Google My Business, I had a pretty big head about my understanding of Google My Business. I had been involved in it since it was called Google Local. I think that was the first name they gave it about 14 years ago or 13 years ago. Then I think they changed it to Google Local Business. Then they changed it to Google Places. And then finally, this odd name, Google My Business, the weirdest name ever. I don't know how Google does their naming. I've never gotten it.
And don't forget the now dinosaur Google Plus.
Google Plus, yeah, and that was a division, like a breakout of the whole Google Places concept. Yeah, I've never really understood Google's methodology for choosing names.
Yeah.
So Dan, give us the name of your business and tell us just a little bit about, in general, what your company does.
Thank you, Randy. So I run a company called Google. I run a company called Burn Media Group, and we use Google a lot. We're a digital marketing agency, but our specialty is in 2 areas: search engine optimization, which includes Google My Business, and video marketing. Because video we consider to be one of the most important assets that one can have, as witnessed by what we're doing today online.
Yeah, in fact, coincidentally, when I started my consulting practice about 13 years ago, my emphasis in the very beginning was Google Local and video. And in the course of the last 13 years, I've produced, I think, something over 3,000 videos for my clients. And I know you have a big background in video production. Just give us a quick introduction to
Sure.
yeah, I mean, you're the real thing. Like, you're a West Side Los Angeles movie producer, right?
Well, thank you. That's I'm not sure that's a compliment, but yes, my background is in the entertainment and commercial, first film, then video industry. So I started out working for Univision, the Spanish network, because I am bilingual and bicultural, and went from there to working for a producer of religious shows, and we produced very prolific, over 300 shows a year
Wow.
And that allowed me to travel, see the world, and shoot in exotic places and things like that. So I received really hands-on experience in the production process, both on stage and in the field. Then I resigned, actually, because I wanted to form my own company. I created a production company, which specialized at that time in commercials for the Spanish market at first, and then we branched out. Then I got into film. We produced several feature films, and from there into film distribution. And then I came back completely in the mid 2000s into the commercial world, producing films. Producing commercials. And then from there we went fully into the digital realm. Because the digital world is what is now not only the future but the present of marketing. They say that everybody now does their window shopping on Google, and it is so true. When anybody looks for anybody to buy from or to use their services, they will first check them out on Google.
Yeah.
And so because of that, another saying that I didn't create, but it's so true, that the best place to hide a body is in the second page of Google. So you always want to be on that first page.
Yeah. And that's what has allowed you and I to make a living. I forget how long you've been in the digital marketing space, but for me, it's almost 13 years. And yeah, I claim, my claim to fame is that I'm so old that I was involved. I put up a website almost immediately after Al Gore invented the internet. I mean, I had a website the same year as websites became available, and actually created a mini Amazon in 1996 called, what was it called now? Bicycle Mall, bicyclemall.com. Doesn't exist anymore. Spent 6 figures trying to get that Bicycle Mall thing going, and then finally gave up in exasperation. Otherwise, I could be, Bezos today. If I just stuck in a little longer, and maybe the diamonds were right on the other side of that thin wall that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah. So that's how old I am. Well, so what we wanted to talk today about is something that you and I both specialize in, which is local business marketing. And local business as opposed to national. So I used to have a manufacturing business that sold bicycle water bottles around the world. In fact, that was a nationally marketed product, nationally marketed company. We didn't care whether somebody 15 miles away ever found us. But most small companies are local businesses. Could you, define or describe what you consider to be a local business as opposed to the national business?
Yeah, I think it's in the name itself. Is a local, could be a regional, could be a city, could be a county, but it services their immediate geography. So for us here in the Inland Empire, local businesses are the ones that are in the IE, the Inland Empire of Southern California, or it could be specific to a city like Riverside, for instance, a chiropractor, a dentist, a plumber, anybody that services their immediate community, city, or a little larger, such as a county or a geography.
Right. And so when we're marketing for a local business, it's completely different than marketing for a national account. And one of the things that popped up right away, actually, everybody that listens to this channel on a regular basis knows I'm a massive Elon Musk fan. And Elon Musk was at the forefront of this whole movement also. The first company that he sold for millions was a company that was very much like City Search. In fact, I'm not sure I think it may have become City Search, but it was very much like a local business locator where you would find the restaurant and then be able to find a map or find information about that restaurant. And he sold that for millions before he started PayPal. And so this concept has been around, for over 20 years. But it really, really became a big deal when Google My Business and Yelp got involved. So, and again, that's when I came into the thing, was just about the time that Google was starting getting involved. So in terms of importance for a small business, where do you put Google My Business in terms of getting found on the internet? How important it is for somebody to be highly ranked on Google My Business if they want to get found?
Oh, 100%. It's probably the most important local business signal for any any business that services their community. I think it's number one. However, you don't want to stop at just the Google My Business. You also want to have what we call the heart of your online presence, which is your website. So just because you have a well-developed Google My Business does not mean that you're fully complete. And the opposite, just because you have a really well-developed website does not mean you're finished either. So I think it takes both. But yes, Google My Business is number one.
And the ironic part about that is that if you, in the old days, before there was a Google My Business, all there was organic rankings. If you were a lawyer in St. Louis, the only way you're going to get found is if you were one of the first 10 people on the page, and you would just be showing there as your law firm the way that you are now organically. When Google Business came along, My Business came along as Google Local, initially they had a 10-pack. And so you would have a 10-pack of small businesses on the front page of your search under lawyers in St. Louis. But then you would have all the organic, either slightly, some of them above, but mostly below that 10-pack. Then somewhere along the line, Google decided it would be wise to go to the dreaded
3-pack.
The dreaded 3-pack. So while there are some categories of business that now have a 4-pack, there are none of them that have more than 4, and almost everybody has a 3-pack. As a result, if you are a lawyer in St. Louis or a chiropractor in Riverside, if you're not in that 3-pack, you aren't going to get found. It's just as simple as that. Do you agree with me in your experience?
Yes, I think that the only thing I would add to that is that absolutely you want to be in that 3-pack, but if you're not initially in that 3-pack, you should work like heck to be in the organic part of it, which is below the 3-pack. There's other ways to start to prime the pump, and that is through paid ads. Those are the ones that appear at the top, at the very top of the search results. But statistically, the paid ads don't get as much action as the 3-pack and the organic, which is underneath the 3.
Yeah, I've read statistics that say that the paid ads are about 20%. They get about 20% of the eyeballs, because some people, I'm one of them, ignore the paid ads entirely unless I'm specifically looking for somebody that I want to hire right now that I think would be likely to be advertising. Then I might go that direction. So when most people go in and they're looking for Italian restaurant in New York City, they're going to go and they'll just write in Italian restaurant. They don't even have to write New York City because it knows where you are, and it will look for that closest few restaurants that are around you, but then also rank them based on ranking factors. What we're going to spend the next couple of days talking about is how to rank in that 3-pack. It is so important. It is free. There's no way you can you can't pay Google. You can't call them up and say, hey, I'd like to pay you $100,000 to be number 1 in the 3-pack. You can pay guys like Dan and me to help you rank higher, but it's also possible to do it DIY. And we'll be talking about the fact that Dan has created a 5-part series.
Well, at this point it's 6, but we're working on adding a few chapters to it. So I think at the end it'll be another 4, so about 10.
So Dan is in the middle of creating a 10-part series, which some of those are already up and available on that new website I keep telling you about, freebusinesshelpnow.com. And as I've said so many times before, how much better can it be than that? It's free, it's business help, and it's immediate. I mean, this is how cool, right? So you could literally skip don't do that, but you could skip the next couple of days and listening to Dan and I talk about it. You could go right now and you could find Dan's videos, as many as have been created when you're watching this, and you could DIY it. You can step by step go through and improve dramatically your standing on Google My Business, hopefully getting into the 3-pack. And quite frankly, again, Dan, I'm asking if you agree, I find that if you're number 1 in the 3-pack, you're going to get about 60 to 80% of the phone calls.
That's correct. Yeah, that's about the right number.
And if the only way that number 2 and number 3 are going to end up getting the bulk of the phone calls is if, let's say, number 1 is sitting there and it's got 3 reviews and it's only got 4 stars, but the number 2 has 60 reviews and it has 5 stars. That will tend to elevate you even though you're in the second spot. Is that also kind of what you would agree with?
Yes, reviews are probably the most, within the Google My Business world, the reviews are considered to be the most important, one of the most important, if not the most important factor, because if you think about it, it makes sense. And Google does vet the reviews that are there. Yes, you might be able to squeeze in some bogus reviews, but they're pretty good about knowing what's real and what isn't. And they do take into account the number of reviews and the number of stars as being one of the most important signals that you're a legitimate business and that your community appreciates you.
And they do that because the fact is we are in a review culture. Whether we're buying a product on Amazon, whether we're buying something and we're looking at Yelp, whether we're on Google My Business, everywhere we go, we're in a review culture. And I know I depend heavily on reviews before I make any buying decision. I even make I even use reviews for making vacation decisions when I'm in a new city about where is it I'm going to go for the day, even though it's not paid. I'm not paying it for anything. I might be going to a park or a special beach, but I'm looking at those reviews as well. As a review culture, Google gets it. So they do give a lot of emphasis to those reviews. But when you go on Google My Business, you're looking at Google My Business, your eyeball is going to go to 50 reviews, all 5-star, even though that's the second review or the third review before it looks at the first review, if it's sitting there with 3 stars or the dreaded 2 stars. Anyway, so that's where we're going to go over the next couple of days. I want to encourage you to come back and join Dan again. Dan, thank you for being here today. And I appreciate the fact you'll be back tomorrow and the next day. And in fact, I think we're going to do 4 days together. We'll see how that works out. But what I want to talk to the rest of you about for a minute is as we go into these next few days, I want you to invite some friends. So you must have friends who are in small business around you, who are local. This is such critical information. I can't begin to tell you. You could change their business life by inviting them to attend these shows. Invite them to attend today as kind of the introduction, but definitely starting tomorrow, we're going to get into some of the details of how to get that ranking up. I have seen the companies that I've consulted with over the years go from getting 0 phone calls incoming and having to do all of their marketing on an outgoing basis to completely switching that to where the majority of their business, their new business, is coming from incoming phone calls just because they hit number 1 in the rankings. So this is very critical. Again, I'm going to ask you to hit like if you've liked this content today. I'm going to suggest once again that you subscribe if you'd like the quick way to get back to this channel, and finally hit notify if you want me to remind you on a daily basis when these new shows come up. So come back tomorrow. I'll look forward to seeing you. And Dan Neora will be with us again tomorrow.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, Randy.